Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon for the latest updates. Hello everyone, this is Mandeep Kaur Tangra. Welcome to the Mandeep Kaur Tangra show. Today we have with us Mansharamani. Ma'am has met me first at one of the event in Amritsar, and she is a business coach with over 35 years of experience. And I personally feel that she is a mentor to everyone who is in business. Even I feel that she is my mentor. I keep on watching her, and आज मेरा मन किया कि मैं मैम को अपने शो पे बुलाऊं. So we are about to complete our 100 episodes, and in my first 100 episodes, I'm lucky that I am covering Uma ma'am here. So ma'am, welcome to the show.
Thank you so very much, Mandeep. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here and to address your audience, which is so young and which has so many years yet and so many miles to travel in their life's journey. Right. Glad to address all of them.
So, ma'am, I just want to tell you that we have over 1 million people following us, and this is an audience which we have built from last 10 years. और सारे ही मेरे जैसे ही हैं. They are doing business, they are into some job, they are of my age, and we are keen to learn from you in the session today. So first, like, how is life treating you? आजकल, how is your mood going on? What you are up to?
As I told you, I am a business cum life coach. So I know that your mood is in your hands. Mm-hmm. You have to take control of your mood every time because that impacts your frequency. Right. And whatever frequency in life you are vibrating at, that is what you attract in your life. You can actually create your life, your desired life. Mm-hmm. And that's how I always observe what is going on inside of me, in my mind, in my emotions, what I'm feeling. And I can actually change my mood. When I'm aware, I can actually control it and I can take charge of my life instantly.
So, recently I attended your session on entrepreneurship, and I was, wondering that आपने इतना कुछ achieve कर लिया है, इतनी दूर पहुंच गई हैं, but still you are very keen to teach people the basics of entrepreneurship.
Yes, because everything starts from basic. Everyone has to learn from ABC. And when the audience was students, mostly, it was a mixed audience. So students have to know their cause. We know that business, has to be run on some purpose. Mm-hmm. The bigger the purpose, farther you go, the greater heights you have the burning desire to achieve. Mm-hmm. And it's not only the purpose. Eventually, the results also matter. Mm-hmm. The purpose definitely drives you, but the result of business has to be profit.
Right.
Every business must result in profit. If it is not, then business life or entrepreneurship is a struggle. And all entrepreneurs go through it, including me. I also had my set of struggles.
Right.
But how to turn them into victories? This is what I love to talk about so that people can have easier journey.
So to my audience, I want to tell again that she's one of the finest business coach. So Uma ma'am, how are you helping people to be great leaders?
Leadership is a skill which can be learned, and leaders have to be very clear. So clarity of mind is the first step because clarity is power. When you know where you want to go, going there is just merely chalking your route, which route you want to take. That's why first clarity of your life's purpose or what you are doing, is that your final goal? Are you happy with it? And you want to consistently do it for n number of years? Right. And in case it is just fantasy, something that is not worthwhile, something that is just a me too thing, where you will always be struggling in your business.
So how you are helping, like what different initiatives you are taking? Are you, doing webinars or, you have also started Tajurba? So, how you are changing, impacting the life of people to become the future leaders?
We have various modules where we actually empower people to realize where they are and what are the gaps in their own thinking, in their own patterns, in their own life, in their own functioning style. So at all levels, that's why I say that Tajurba is something that transforms you 360 degrees, which is not like coming back to square one, which is like multidimensional, spherical. In every plane and every axis of the sphere, we give you and provide you opportunity. And wherever we find and you find, we don't find, we can actually see, but we help you find what are the gaps that you can fill in, where you need to fill in and bridge your gaps.
Right. So, what do you think? How much coaching is important for a businessman? Normally, people are into legacy businesses for 50 years. They never thought to, hire somebody to coach them, to coach their team. So, how a business coach, can change somebody's life, or what direction he gives?
So I would like to state here my own example that we had a very big thriving business. We started from a scratch in 1986 beginning, and in less than 10 years, 9 years time, we came out with the most successful IPO of our time in our industry, which went over 300 times subscribed. That time there was no TV channels and all, dedicated news channels for this. So it wasn't a hype, but people who were in the IPO investing space, they used to read Business Standard and all. And there they used to collect the knowledge. Now there it was like headlines, a small company from Mayapuri comes up with this kind of IPO. And we made it big. Our business started growing left, right, center, through the roof. We became one of the top 50 in NCR. And then it all collapsed. It came down to zero. Or in the negative, I would say, we took extra exposure because we didn't have any coach to look up to. And we used to have aspirations to make it one of the biggest companies. So without covering the risks or taking calculated risks, we started giving credit to the clients to a tune which we could not afford. So we were taking credit from the bank and supplying goods. At one time when they pull the plug, then you come to know where you have landed yourself.
Right.
So we sold all our life's belongings to pay off the banks, to pay off the market, pay off the creditors, everyone. And we had to start our life from zero once again. And it's very difficult when you're living a certain lifestyle to come down to zero and start working from there. You have actually traveled those miles. You are used to living in a certain manner, a certain standard, a certain way, a certain lifestyle. So I definitely feel if I had a business coach at that time, he would have not let it happen.
Right.
That's how important it is. Now, whether it's your own business or you have inherited it, equation is same.
Yes.
That's how important it is.
Yeah. So what were your previous businesses, and what is your current venture you are into?
So we were into apparel export, and that is how we started our journey. My husband was in it, and then later obviously his partnership broke and I started with him. So we both built it up together and it became a thriving business for us. Eventually the clients, they became so dependent on us, and we were working directly with the store chains, and they were very happy with the product that we would send, the range that we would make. The success rate of my range was like, if I was sending them like 205 samples, so I would get orders on 198 of them. That became my success rate. That's how like we got so tuned to the client's taste, and the quality was very good. They used to love, so they started wrapping up their business from other vendors and giving it to us. That's how we grew with those clients. Eventually the business became so big that our 3 factories could not support. And we asked them that, is it okay that we give it to our friends who don't have enough work, but they are having their factories? And they said, we don't care. As long as, Uma, you are taking responsibility. As long as the inspection certificate has your signatures that you have authorized that shipment to leave that country and land at our warehouse. That was such a big moral responsibility that I would travel to Nepal practically 2-3 times a month to check all the shipments personally with my eye, even though we had deputed our QCs over there. But all final inspections I will do myself because I was morally bound by that signature.
Right.
And that's how they wrapped up all business, and it came to us for the entire region.
Right. So you were in apparel business, and then what was the next?
So in apparel, we were doing good. And then we added some accessories to that, soft accessories, and some costume jewelry and little stuff we tried, but that was not something big. It was only apparel and accessories. And then when I started giving orders to other companies, then we became sourcing agents. So Heritage Sourcing was my company that was initiated in 1997. And that did pretty well. So we were doing business with factories in like China, Nepal, Bangladesh, UAE, and our own. And of course, sourcing fabrics from, Nepal or other places, China as well. Hong Kong, we used to import some fabrics and accessories, and goods were being made in Nepal. So all the operations were being monitored and channelized through me.
Right. So what is the latest venture you are into?
So latest is my dream venture, which is Tajurba. And Tajurba is a company where we have we started with Tajurba Talks, TED Talk, Josh Talk, that's how. And we initially, after our disaster and fiasco, we thought that we should help startups and other businesses that they don't go through the same issues that we had to struggle with.
Right.
So that was like pro bono services we started. And we used to visit various universities and various startup groups to help people understand their business model and whether they are doing it right, whether it makes a business sense, or where they in their growth plans, they're going to mess up. Because sometimes if you're not ready for growth and you plunge into it, your business can be a disaster. It can really create issues for your business. So you have to be at a certain level and ready for that growth with your infra, with your capabilities of that current infra. Otherwise, you set that infra to bring it to the level that you can attain that growth. You can service that client's requirement.
So, you are such an energetic woman. आपका profession ऐसा है कि you have to, transfer or give a lot of energy to other people. So how you keep, your energy high all the time? You have to motivate 100 people, 1,000 people every week. And how you keep your energy so high?
So we all know that we all are bundles of energy. We just have to realize it. And if we know scientifically the equation of energy, it's E is equal to mc square. So energy is mass plus the speed, speed of light, right?
Yes.
Now, speed of light, of course, we can't compete with, but as fast as we can, we have to make our decisions faster. We have to move faster, take actions faster. And mass, we all are we all have body mass. So how you actually train your brain to think that you are a bundle of energy, that impacts your mindset, and that impacts the speed that you acquire in all your day-to-day life.
Right.
What you want to do, if you are actually having something to look up to, and you want to reach that goal, it will keep you awake, it will keep you on the roll.
What accomplishments you would like to mention that, at different stages of life, life must have brought you, happiness, brought you some accomplishments, you felt very nice at, during those moments, because life में इतना ज़्यादा मेहनत की है, इतना ज़्यादा tough time देखा है, इतने struggles होते हैं, and then you reach to some point at different, and then they change your life, step up in your life in various times. So what are your accomplishments?
My work, because I was so dedicated. When I started, I didn't have any government exposure or any designing exposure. I was a science student. And dream of my dreams, in the heart of my hearts, when I was a child, I was very much inspired by Madame Curie. So I wanted to be a scientist forever. Ever since I read about her, I wanted to invent something that I could contribute to humanity for their benefit and something. And when I grew, I loved science and I got very keen about taking biology and become a doctor, a surgeon actually, not even a doctor. And my professors, they used to say, because at that time we were again having some family challenges, and mom said that we cannot afford medical education. And we had no exposure, so we didn't know that student loans exist because no interaction from outside world.
Right.
So I joined normal BSc Honours Zoology, but my dissections were to the tune that my professor once said that, Uma, your dissections are so fine that out of all surgeons, only 5% can make it to be neurosurgeons, and you will be one of them. So even after finishing your BSc Honours, if you attempt for medical, you must try. But because the family, atmosphere was different, I'd like to share one more thing.
Yes.
In my business, because I told you that I was not from the background and I started designing and our orders, they started growing. I hadn't stepped out of the house because obviously I was, in a controlled atmosphere, but I definitely was having that intellect and I wanted to I wanted to break those glass jars, and I wanted to, be free mentally, emotionally, as a personality. So I wanted to go out and have some exposure for myself, which initially was a resistance in the family. And eventually I could convince my husband. It took me 7 years after we started our business to convince him that, yes, I can travel alone. I can bring in business, because marketing definitely involves, a lot of communication skills.
Right.
So when I went there, I was definitely very scared, because I had not been to market alone. And I decided that I'm going to travel alone across the seas. I had gone to states like twice with my husband. And that was when I decided that I want to go alone. And when I reached there, definitely I was damn scared, and I made my way. I knew that if I'm advancing, I'll be able to make my way. I reached there and I started targeting the client that we were eyeing from the start of our business. Until then, we had not cracked. After long persuasion, I got entry there from on that trip itself.
Right.
That first trip of mine. And the order size that I got at that time, 25 years from now, 26 years now, was 1 crore.
Right.
That was so big at that time. And the profit in that was 100% on my cost. 50 lakhs of profit.
Right.
Unheard of in the industry. In the budget mass market industry, it was unheard of. They used to work with, benchmark of 15, 20%, maximum 25%.
Right.
So that was my biggest victory, I would say, for, as an entrepreneur, as a business person.
Yeah, great. How was your experience at TED? Like, you must be one of the initial speakers at TED. Now it is quite common in India. But when were you at TED? Like, in which year?
In 2019, it's quite recent.
Okay, quite recent. So
Yeah.
how was your experience?
I loved it, actually, because I know that I had a challenge and I overcame to become a public speaker. And I speak with heart. All my experience comes from my life's experience. That's how people can actually relate with it. And there are certain issues, like all businesses, they struggle with the recession, thought of recession actually. And it is difficult to identify a recession for common people. For economists, it is good. So it is one of the studies that I did. And based on that, I created my TED Talk.
What do you think, out of your experience, that women have now, they have stepped out of their comfort zone or not in terms of doing businesses in India?
Very, very small percentage. Very small percentage like you are following what they want to do. There are still so many, because we are into training, so we get a lot of women candidates who come and join our trainings as well. And women who want to do things, they come for mentorship, they come for advice. Mostly they're influenced still by their family. They would like to take, they'd like to discuss with their husband, take his approval. Now, discussing with someone and coming to a consensus is okay in a relationship, but taking someone's approval before taking any next step is making you dependent on that person.
Yeah.
We see that women, even now, they don't have their own finances. They don't take care of themselves. Their husband is taking care of the finances. Investor who takes LIC policies or mutual funds or any future decisions. This is one thing I want to say to all women. First of all, start making your decisions for yourself. That is the first liberation. It gives you so much power. You are creating your own funds. Many of them, they are already creating their own funds. So long as it is mutual, it's great. Never seek approval. Be confident enough to know. Taking advice is okay, but ultimate decision has to be yours.
You have come to a long journey. You are a successful entrepreneur. And how you handled the most challenging times in your business?
So most challenging times were definitely very trying times when we were, selling our house, our big bungalow to pay off the banks, all our properties, our factories and everything to pay off the creditors. That was a very, very tough and challenging time. And luckily, when, some disaster happens, God has created universe in such a way that what you need, that answer shows up if you are looking for it, if you have your eyes and ears open. So at that time, we came across some workshops in the newspaper, one small tiny ad of, Alpha Mind Power. And I decided that we have to take it. And that's how I started learning about mindset. Prior to that, I was so busy in our business. I used to work, so to say, 72 hours a day. Like that was the amount of work I used to handle. Probably in my own business, at that time, I didn't know what is working in business and on business. I was not a business coach at that time. And because I didn't find other people working with me as thorough and competent as I was, so I would get into the details. My customers, they loved me thoroughly for that. And I would try to make my staff, learn those details, to have that eye for the detail. Some of them were good and they would pick up, and some of them would feel that, okay, humne nahi kiya to ma'am to kar hi le. That kind of mentality also helped.
Right, right.
So I started working on my mindset. And I learned that all that we see externally is ultimately result of our mindset. What all was being served to me and I was holding inside because I was not venting out or giving it out for a certain amount of years, I felt at that, I learned actually, not felt. Probably that was the reason, because if you're holding on negativity and it keeps piling inside you, it's going to show up in your external circumstances. This is what I learned, and now I practice law of attraction, and touch wood, it works.
So what is your dream yet to achieve?
That I'm impacting 1 crore lives, making them successful in their life, and with the definition of whatever success means to them. Every one of us have a different definition for success. For some who are struggling in relationship, if their relationship normalizes, that can be a success. For some who have issues with their growing kids, they don't listen to them and there are constant fights and they want liberty and they have a certain mindset and they want to protect their kids to some extent. They want to instill certain values. That could be a challenge. But majority, I would say, these would be like 20-30% maximum, these kind of issues. Maximum are financial issues. For business owners, even issues, financial issues and business profitability is the major issue, because that impacts your relationships, that impacts the lifestyle, that impacts the education of your children, everything else.
Right.
So that forms a very big portion of what I want to create as an impact in their life.
Right.
Financial success.
What life skills or what life mantras you follow to lead a successful life?
At every given time, be sure of your purpose, clarity of purpose, clarity of goals, long-term as well as short-term, a to-do list towards your goals, and constant daily action, so that you are advancing towards your goals daily, step by step, inch by inch. Every inch counts.
Right. So anything else you want to say which I have not asked?
I'd like to say that many times it's your own self-doubts, your fears, your anxieties that built up from your previous experiences. They start determining your current and your future in your mind, or what other people think about you, what they make you feel, or what they talk about you, which you either directly they convey or you overhear. These things, they seep into your mind and create negativity and self-doubt. Believe me, nothing of it matters. And you look up to certain people that they will come to your rescue or help. You don't need anyone.
Right.
You be your own support and be a support for others. Whatever you lack the most in life or you desire the most in life, no matter how little you have that with you right now, you still part of it to someone who is in more dire circumstances than you, and you will see a rush of abundance in your life.
Like most of the questions, I think they came out of my own mind and must be helpful to a lot of women listening to us today. And thank you so much, Uma ma'am.
Thank you so much, Mandeep, and loved your show. Loved being here. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. And to my audience, we talked to Uma Mansharamani today, and we learned a lot about her life and her experiences. And thank you for being on Mandeep Kaur Tangra show.